Hello everyone, and welcome to the garage with Bonesaw. First off, as you can see from the background, I'd like to wish World of Tanks a happy 2-year anniversary. It's been great, and I hope many more wonderful things come in the future. And now it's on to the review. This week it's the German Tier 5 Panzerkampfwagen III on 4. Now, this is an interesting tank, and a lot of people have asked me, the 3 on 4, I've never heard of this tank, where does this tank come from? Well, quite simply put, it's a prototype. Now, bear off with the groans. I know there are plenty of people out there who aren't fond of prototypes, but this is an interesting one. Its story is quite interesting. Pretty much, the German army in about 1942, when they were going through Russia as part of Operation Barbarossa, they were confronted with the new T-34 and KV tanks, and they needed more long-barreled 75mm guns in the field in order to penetrate the new Russian armour. And amongst the projects that they tried were things like the Marder series of tanks, where they mounted 75mm anti-tank guns on older obsolete tank chassis to make a ad hoc tank destroyer. They also upgraded the Panzer IV to have a 75mm L43 and later L48 gun, because the Panzer IV already had a short-barreled 75mm. The infrastructure in the turret was already there. Unfortunately, it took them longer to upgrade the Panzer III to have a 75mm gun, because it was only fitted to take a 5cm gun. They did have them towards the end of the war. I believe the Panzer III Aus G was equipped with a L48 gun. But the Panzer III-4, it was an attempt to essentially take the good parts from both tanks and combine them to make one new tank for a cheaper price that could do all the things they wanted. So it was going to be fast like the Panzer III and equipped with that 75mm gun. And as you can see, it is very similar between the two. Now, the project never saw combat usage. They kind of dumped it and decided, no, we'll just stop making the Panzer III. The Panzer III is obsolete, we'll continue with the Panzer IV. They did, however, use the chassis layout of a combined Panzer III, Panzer IV setting to build the Geschützwagen III-4, which was used for things like the Hummel artillery piece. So it did eventually see use in a way. It's not completely a prototype. Anyway, in World of Tanks, it's an interesting tank. If you find the Panzer IV not to your liking, well, at least you have an alternative. The best way I can describe these tanks is that the Panzer IV is firepower, the 3 on 4 is speed. Following on from the Panzer III, this thing is quite fast. It has a choice of 2 guns, both a 75mm. It has the L43 and the L48. It starts with the L43, and unlike the Panzer IV, you don't really have to grind through those really bad guns in the beginning. The L48 is the better of the two. Damage is the same, but the penetration is mildly superior. The accuracy and rate of fire is also better. 2.3 aim time can be a little bit long, and 0.39 accuracy isn't amazing, but it's sufficient. It'll get the job done. This tank does suffer from a slight paradox, however, in that it feels very much like a high-speed flanker brawler that you should be, circling people and just blasting away on the move. Unfortunately, its on-the-move accuracy is very poor. It's not very good at getting on-the-move shots. You will get them occasionally, but more often than not, the best way to play this thing is to move up into flank positions and just to shoot the enemy from the side at medium range. The other downside of this tank is its matching. It normally gets standard tier 5 matching, however it can see slightly higher battles where it starts to kind of fulfill the role of a scout, but because it's a medium, it can't quite scout optimally. And this is because light tanks in World of Tanks retain their camouflage value when they're moving and when they're stationary. Medium tanks don't. Furthermore, with the top turret, this tank's view range is only 320 meters. Compare that to, one of my other tier 5 lights, like the Leopard, VK1602 Leopard. It has 380 view range, and it has that camouflage bonus. So not only will I generally be seeing the enemy before they see me, I can also, sneak up on them with that camouflage and Also, my speed limit's 60 kilometers an hour, and the Leopard accelerates to its speed limit better than the 3-on-4 does. So, can you scout with it? Yes. Is it optimal? No. You'll often find yourself getting hit from invisible tanks that you can't see, simply because they're sitting still and you're moving. But by no means is this a bad tank. I mean, it has 60mm of frontal armor, which is roughly equivalent to the Panzer IV. It has, I believe, 20mm less on the front, but more on the sides. That's 60mm sloped, so with some clever angling, you can bounce a lot of the lower caliber rounds, 5cm guns, 45mm guns, the like. The sides are also decently sloped. That box in the back of the turret, I believe, is a no-hit box. Furthermore, the rear plate is not small, but it's not exactly conspicuous. And the tracks are generally quite good. They do tend to fall off a bit, though. The tracks are very vulnerable to damage of any sort, whether it be high explosive or just light rounds. So you'll often find that the thing that gets you killed in this tank is losing your tracks, and a repair kit is advisable. Aside from that, the L48 gun generally will suffice, but there are scenarios where it will underperform. Once you find you're facing things like KVs, you really will need to pay attention to where you're shooting. You can penetrate them easily, it's just the damage output that is an issue. And overall, a good tank. Only weighs about 25 tons, which is acceptable. Just be careful, because it's a fast tank, and we all know what happens with a fast tank. With a fast tank, you get the speed up and you just want to ram something. And I know I do it quite a bit in even my light tanks, but with 25 tons and its size, sometimes you feel like you want to take on something that you really shouldn't. And this thing, it will lose health. I ran a Panzer III in the footage I'll be showing you later, and lose maybe about a quarter of my health. I'm still better off for it, but even then you have to remember that your armor probably won't save you from a ram unless it's after a light tank. Recommended strategy for this tank in regards to lights is to use it as a counter light tank. Pretty much hang around and just wait for enemy light tanks to try and rush and go after your artillery, or after the cap, in which case you can just run them down, because your top speed of 55 is pretty close to what they have. Your 75mm gun will generally be better than what a enemy light tank is equipped with, and also you have the weight, so when it comes down to it, you can ram light tanks and really just bully them. So the Panzer 3-on-4, overall a good tank, and the speed to be the counterpart to the firepower of the Panzer IV. So here we are on Fisherman's Bay with the Panzer 3-on-4. Now this game turned out a lot differently than what I was expecting. My initial plan was just to head along the one line, support these mediums and heavies, use the speed to get around sides, get some flank shots in. However, the enemy team have decided to push on the hill. And I don't normally go to the hill, because this tank doesn't have very good gun depression. You can't do much up there without exposing yourself. But, I was worried the enemy were going to push hill and overrun, and I've seen that happen, and it's never fun. So, decided to countercharge this Panzer IV here, and I take a pot shot on the move, wind up scoring the kill, much to my surprise, and I think to myself, okay, that's my good shooting done for the game. Everything else is going to be terrible from now on. But no, I keep on going and find myself with a Panzer III, next victim. So I miss the shot, ram him, take his track off, finish him off. Now surely the M4 Sherman's going to get me. No, he goes after the Leopard, and I finish him off with the final shot. Pulling over the hill to circle around again, look for more targets of opportunity. Now see another M4 Sherman, wonder if he's out of cover. Proceed up cautiously, because he's more than likely using high explosive 105mm gun. Then I notice this ELC coming over the hill. Now I don't want him to get over into our artillery, because, well, a light tank in your artillery is never good, especially with the 90mm gun the ELC can get. But this one, thankfully, only has the short 75. So he's getting chased by everyone. I'm kind of running the gauntlet here because I have them going after me and allied artillery going after him. Very clever move by the ELC there, braking to get behind me, but I've taken hit on my track and now I've broken his track, so that's my 4th kill for this game. And a little jump celebration there. Alright, circling around town, we've pretty much cleared the streets. Our one-line push is doing very well. So I decided if I can get the kill opportunity on this Sherman, show him the superiority of German guns. Straight through the turret. Bet he regrets going to the hill now. So that's 5 kills. Can I make a Top Gun? First ever Top Gun in the Panzer III on 4. Can I make a Top Gun? Let's see what we can find. Alright, so I'm circling around the hill because it puts the majority of the hill between whatever could be defending their cap. My main worry is that T-14 and the Stug 3. Now I've spotted their artillery. He's in the open, so I cautiously creep up in case there's a tank destroyer around there. Finish him off with the second shot. Now I see the Stug. He's flank onto me, so I can shoot him. Fortunately I miss. And this is where you see the accuracy of the L48. It's acceptable, but it's not amazing. So it's 2 shots I've missed. Third one hits. And the final one will finish him off for my 7th and final kill of the game. Turn around and try and go for the Crusader, but he's already dead, and so is the Panzer IV. And that's the end of the game. Probably my best game in the Panzer III on 4.